Hello.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Coming up and sing with me. I'm in the right place. There's a mic right there. In the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Your day off, I know. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Yeah. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Yeah. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Deepest kind of love to the deepest kind of love, the sweetest kind of life to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, get ready. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. Diving in, I'm diving in. Get ready, get ready, my soul. I'm diving in, deepest kind of love to the deepest kind sweetest kind of life. To the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Nice job singing.
Thank you, Daniel. That song is a beautiful lead in Get Ready, My Soul, for entering into the service. And it is my pleasure to welcome you at this time to our service here, our Unity of Fox Valley family. And also for those of you who are tuned in on our YouTube channel, you always are welcome to, and I always want to make sure that I include you in greeting and welcoming. We wish you could be here with us physically, but we feel your energy notwithstanding. I also want to take this moment to remind everybody to please silence your cell phones so that we may get through the service without any interruptions. And then I want to ask, is there anybody here that is a first-time visitor? Anybody here for the first time? If so, please raise your hand. There we go. We thank you for honoring us with your presence today. We anticipate and hope that you will enjoy a wonderful service on this special occasion. And because we have this special guest, Daniel Nahmod, with us today that we've been waiting for weeks. And if you have any questions, you may ask just about anybody in the congregation, and I certainly would make myself available to you after the service if you would have any questions of me. And so with that, let me just pause a moment. I'm conscious of time always. I really want to properly welcome you, Daniel. I really want to improperly welcome you, Daniel. Where the heck have you been? Oh, do you know how long wait, no. You've already had a very wonderful taste of Daniel's talents and his gifts, and he's going to be sharing more of those throughout the service today. We truly, truly are blessed to have you with us today, so thank you. And now I want to invite our prayer chaplain, Bobby, to please come forward and share the daily word.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we are so glad that you chose to be with us on this special musical workshop Sunday. So the daily word today is pray for others. As I pray, I affirm the activity of God in your life and mine. I am honored by the trust of those who ask me to pray with them. Whatever I am asked to pray about, my responsibility is always the same: to recognize all qualities of God are active, even in the most challenging circumstances. I remain steadfast, affirming this truth. If I have been asked to pray for healing, I release all thoughts of illness. I affirm divine life is active in every cell. I see harmony and perfect function restored. If I am praying for abundance, I entertain no thought of lack. I affirm divine wisdom, love, and understanding, guiding the one with whom I pray to make wise, prospering choices. As I affirm truth for all who have asked for prayer, my awareness of God's activity in my life increases also. And from 3 John, verse 1, 2, Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul. I will be up front after the service to pray with anyone that might have special concerns or would like to share your prayers of joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. And now I invite all of you to please join with me in praying our Spirit's unfolding vision prayer. Guided by divine wisdom, inspired by divine imagination, centered in divine love, and knowing that God is our source, we boldly move forth in faith as we allow Spirit's expanding vision to unfold in our lives, the life of this spiritual community, and our world. Thank you, God. Amen. And now I want to call our children forward along with their sponsors so that we may bless you. Always one of my very, very favorite things to do at this service, okay? Please join me in blessing them. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you and know that you are empowered to do great things.
Sunny stuff, that's what you're made of, sunny stuff. You've got a smile that evaporates the rain, not a single thing about you that you need to change. Oh, sunny stuff, no getting around it, you're sunny stuff. More than enough to brighten up a brand new day. A sunny stuff, you're on your way, your way. A sunny stuff, you're on your way.
I am now going to be giving control of this service to Daniel.
That's reckless.
I'm going to live dangerous.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to live to regret it. There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. We speak so many languages, different clothing, colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. And we'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, or Jesus or Lord. Call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or Heaven's Door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, yeah. One power is what we are. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, what we are is lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. I don't know about you, but I was not raised to actually believe that song. Not really. I was raised in a traditional religion. Anybody else here raised in a traditional religion? Yeah. And most religions, like most clubs, it seems to me, have rules of membership. You know, uniforms you wear, special events you celebrate, traditions you learn. For me, it was raised in a traditional Jewish home. There was an undercurrent in our home. Not only did we learn Jewish tradition and holidays, which I love, and learned a little bit of Hebrew, which I love knowing, and but I was raised in a family that had reverberations of barely surviving the Holocaust. My grandparents barely survived, and the rest of their family did not. So my mother and her sister and brother were raised steeped in that grief and in that fear, and who could blame them? So I'd like to think that it's certainly lessened for my mom than for her parents, of course, and then like diluted more for me, and my two brothers, like less intense, the grief and the fear and so on. And I certainly think my wife and I have a boy, Jude, who's 11, and I think it's even more significantly diluted now. You know what I mean? Like generations pass, and that it's like a stain that fades over time in some way or something. And so to sing One Power, for me, to have written One Power and then to sing it, and I've sung it thousands of times, honest to God, since I wrote it. It was about 2000 or 2001. And I'm not going to tell you that I was actually a very observant. I wasn't like a very good religious kid at all. I never really cared too much about the rules, and there are a lot of them. If you don't know anything about traditional Judaism, but you're Catholic, for example, then you know what that means. Like, like a Jewish service, like a Catholic Mass is, you know when to stand up, you know when to sit down, you know what you're going to say, what you're going to sing, and when it all happens, and it's very, very ritualized. And there's a lot of things beautiful about that. But you learn it in your DNA in a way, over time. But I was never very good at caring about the details. A lot of things I've never been good at, and that's one of them. Also never been good at practicing any instrument. But that's off the subject. So actually it's relevant now again because Jude is taking drum lessons, and he's actually, sadly, very good at it. That was a joke. But serious. He's actually got a lot of natural talent at drums, and I've been asked hundreds of times over the last 20 years to talk to a kid who's learning an instrument. A parent will say, "Daniel, will you please tell my son to practice?" I'm like, I cannot. I don't do hypocrisy. As best I can, I avoid it. And all I can say is practicing makes you better faster, and better is more fun. Like that I know. Anyway, off the subject, and welcome to the inside of my mind. All right, so I was raised in this, in an insular community and in an insular family. Proud of both, wonderful both. This is not a criticism. But I was absolutely not raised to believe that it didn't matter what religion you are if you're nice. And it equally didn't matter what religion you are if you weren't nice. Like that was just my core belief always. So to write the song was like a real gift to me because it gave me sometimes 5.5 minutes and sometimes 4.5 minutes, depending on my mood and how fast I play it. It gave me a chance to summarize this core belief that I've always had, right? So think about how that would feel to have the opportunity to share like an essence of you on a regular basis with roomfuls of nice people, almost none of whom walk out, throw anything, or boo. You know what I mean? It's a very gratifying, very validating thing. It's a lovely thing. But there's something else that goes on with me when I sing that song, and this is just true. I sung it thousands of times, and I have never once phoned it in or not meant it. Okay? Never. I've sung it for 4 people. I've sung it for 10,000 people. Never once have I sung that song with less than full, what would you call it, intensity or concentration, sincerity. Never once, right? And this is something you can't know about me unless you've heard me talk before. I sometimes will say out loud, it's just simply true about me that I actually mean everything I sing. That hypocrisy thing, that's a big deal to me. I don't want to lie for a living. I did that years ago as a computer programmer. I ain't doing it anymore. So it's largely actually why I don't, even a concert, a church service, I will almost never commit to a song in advance. Because if I'm not feeling it in the moment, I don't actually want to pretend I'm feeling it. So I get to sing it on the fly, choose it on the fly, and as a result, it is an authentic choice. It's like, that's what I really feel like singing. One Power, and this. So some of the things I'm saying over the next half hour or so, I planned on saying, but I promise you, I will say things I wasn't planning on saying and probably sing a song that I wasn't planning on singing, because that's just kind of how it works for me. This is the real me, not canned, no shtick, not pre-written. You know what I mean? However, I will admit that there's a voice inside my head, which is probably my dad's voice saying, "They paid you to come, you couldn't prepare a talk," you know. And he's not wrong, but I would prefer to look at it as I've been preparing for 52 years, or preparing for 25 years, maybe you'd say, you know, in the music world. Anyway, so this intensity of singing One Power, and I'm going somewhere with this, in case you're wondering, the intensity of the singing of One Power runs deep for me. It's not an act. It's not method acting. I'm not trying to hammer a point home or convince anybody. I'm admitting something that's going to sound a little disturbingly grandiose or pretentious, and I don't mean it that way, because I am not a woo-woo guy at all. I'm a child of 2 lawyers and an economics major in college and a computer programmer after college. I am cerebral and cynical and very sarcastic. I have 2 brothers, and sarcasm was like our native language, you know. Still is. To give you an example of, as a digression, give you an example of the kind of sarcasm I grew up with, my brother and I both live in Southern California, and years ago I went on a date. I'm now married 13 years, so it's a long time ago. I went on a date, and it was fun, and I called the girl the next day, and she never called me back. And I said to my brother, "Dave, I don't understand. We had a really nice time." And she said, "Correction." My brother said, "Correction, you had a really nice time." Anyway, so the intensity with which I sing a song like One Power, in fact, even just the writing of it, and really, in a sense, the 25 years of writing songs like One Power, which, you go ahead and tell me what kind of song it is. I have no idea. It's not a pop song. It's not a gospel song, obviously. I have no idea what it is. It's uncategorizable, which is maddening. Sitting next to somebody on a plane, and they say, "What kind of music do you make?" And I say, "I don't know. I have no answer." Whatever. This conversation just ended, and you don't even know it. You know, I don't know how to explain it. I used to sometimes like draw the line. You know how Oprah Winfrey talks to people? That's how I sing to people. They're like, "Okay, that just sounded weird," you know. Sometimes people would have heard of Deepak Chopra, who I've worked with, or, you know, like Wayne Dyer I worked with a little bit. I mean, there's a few points of connection, but generally those people aren't mainstream either. They feel mainstream to some people, but they're not. I mean, most people haven't heard of them. So where does the intensity come from? Like, what is it I'm actually trying to do when I sing One Power? And here's the grandiose part, or the pretentious part. I've only kind of gradually realized, honestly, I'm actually kind of trying to make the world a more peaceful place. No. I mean, nothing I'm saying, by the way, is fishing for, like, good for you or yay or anything. There's nothing. This is just me talking out loud. This is just me thinking out loud about what I do. And it's not only, this is not intended to be entirely about me, because I suspect, or I certainly would hope, that as I'm talking about the things that I do that have an intention, my hope is that you would think of things that you do, and maybe you'll think of the sorts of things I'm thinking of, or thinking about them, and maybe you'll realize something, whatever it is you realize about. The workshop that I'll do this afternoon is similar. I just plant seeds and see, it's up to you what you think of or feel or remember or associate, right? But for me, I'm actually trying to make the world a more peaceful place, a more connected place, for a few minutes at a time even. I long ago abandoned the illusion that a song well sung, which I'm not even saying I do, a song well sung will change the world. I always figure if Imagine couldn't do it, and What a Wonderful World couldn't do it, and From a Distance couldn't do it, and, Let It Be couldn't do it, and on and on and on, and give, and all you need is love couldn't do it, then I'm not going to do it. So it doesn't come from a place like, look at me. It's not actually the vibe at all inside. I'm actually intending to shine a little light on what I consider the absurdity of not just you and me disagreeing, but me demanding that you change your mind to agree with me. The obscenity of killing somebody over a disagreement like that. And not all, but much of the division and acrimony in the history of humanity seems to be born in beliefs, mystical beliefs, religious beliefs, superstitious beliefs. It's pretty potent territory for not just hope and faith for the individual, but also separation from the other individual who disagrees. I don't know what it is that causes us to fight somebody who disagrees with us, but it seems to be an instinct, and a painful one, and a deeply harmful one. So I'm trying to turn on a little pen light and just illuminate it just a little bit. Like, maybe it won't matter if you disagree with me. Maybe it doesn't matter, just a little, right? And I mentioned the Holocaust surviving family because over time, I've kind of realized that there were family members just 2 generations ago in my family who are completely lost to history, right? I don't know why I have the color eyes I have. They came from somewhere, but the relative that gave them to me is gone. My Bubby and Zadie, my mom's parents, left the little town in Poland where they lived. They were in their mid-20s, newly married, and they decided they didn't want to be around when the Nazis arrived because they'd heard stories of what was happening, not confirmation. The Nazis had just invaded Poland. This is September 1939. And they were sitting there in Poland, and my Bubby and Zadie and one brother on each side, the 4 of them, decided they would cross over the border into Russia, which was near where they lived. They crossed over the border. They told the Russian army at the border that they were going to a wedding. They spoke Russian. They were going over the border to a wedding. They crossed over the border and ended up being sent to a Siberian work camp for the next 3 years, for a good part of the war. And of course, what they didn't know was that they left their town, and they said goodbye for what they thought was a brief period to their parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, and never saw any of them again. They were all killed right there in that town as soon as they left. And my Bubby said for the rest of her life, although I never heard her say it, but my mom and my uncle have both told me, that she used to say she wishes she had just stayed with her mother. That's how heartbroken she was and guilt-ridden she was that they had survived and that they'd left family behind to die, right? So Danny, 50 years later, who used to play little piano pieces for my Bubby and Zadie in their living room, now grows up. I'll go ahead and claim that I've grown up. I still drink Slurpees, and I'm not embarrassed about it. But I've mostly grown up, sort of grown up, a kid with bigger skin. So I moved to LA to make music for a living. I stopped lying for a living on the computer programming thing. And what kind of song do I write? Without even thinking about it, really, without processing what I was doing or why I cared so much or why I would do that. It's so unprofitable, can I just tell you? I mean, I've made a living and I'm grateful. But I mean, I moved to LA. It's the center of the pop music business. And I've got talent for pop music. I could do it. And if I had just stopped saying yes to interfaith events, and no offense, Unity churches, if I had just stayed there in West Hollywood and gone to a few songwriter nights, instead it was always like, hey, Dan, you want to come to a songwriter night? No, I can't. I'm flying across the country to sing at a conference. Wow, cool. What's the conference? You wouldn't understand. Never mind. And I sing these songs that have no category, and I sing them with this feeling that runs deeper than I ever consciously decided to feel, if that makes sense. Now, where I'm actually going with this is going to maybe feel like a sideways turn from what I've talked about so far. But where I'm actually going with this is that with a goal, with an intention of making the world a tiny bit more peaceful with a song, you may disagree with me, but I'm pretty clear I'm setting myself up for a lifetime of frustration. There's a line from Clueless. You guys ever see the movie Clueless? Where a guy asks his sort of adopted son, Paul Rudd at the time, Paul Rudd, movie star now. He was very young then. He looks exactly the same. But he said, what do you want? What kind of lawyer do you want to be? He said, I think I want to be an environmental lawyer. And the guy says, oh, so you want to be broke and frustrated your entire life, And I think of that. So how small is my contribution going to be? What if I spend 25 or 30 or 35 years singing one power from like my depths? Mean it every time, thousands of times. Think every time I think of my Bubby and Zadie in my mind. I'm thinking about the lines as I'm singing them. I think of them. I think of my parents. I think of the Jewish school I grew up in. I think frequently about current events. I think of some news item that broke my heart or even inspired some hope. I'm thinking and feeling as I'm doing it, what happens if when I'm done, the world is no more peaceful? How close do you get on a given day to feeling like you've done enough? How close do you get on any given day to feeling like you exercised enough? Lost enough weight? Made enough money? Called enough people back? Built your business enough? Said I love you to somebody you love enough? Been kind enough to your kids? Kind enough to your parents? How often do you get the enough feeling? I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting, but for me, it's pretty elusive. So I do this thing, and it's never enough. I mean, how could it be enough? I open the paper the next day, and another monstrosity thing happened, and it's like, well, squandered that, Or I feel like, at least I have the option of feeling like I did my best. Maybe it's cold comfort, or maybe it's real. I don't know. How often it's real to feel like you did enough? Oh, well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, and thank you for saying that. And in fact, it cuts straight to kind of where I can, the only place that I can end this little talk is let me sing you a song. If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, What will I have to show? Oh, but fortune and fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. But is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to heal, it's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller because of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on? If I am out of time. Now, sometimes in a song, I have a secret line that is like my favorite line of the song or is the point of the song. Like I found the phrase that encapsulated it. And I'll give a quarter to anybody who can guess what two words are the key in that song. Anyone? A little. Is the world a little more peaceful? Are oceans and sky a little more blue? Have I left a little kindness? The water workshop this afternoon, this is not a promotion, you're just invited, but the water workshop is about that. The water songs are about that. They're called Water. It's from an album called Water. That song's from there. And that was a revolutionary thought for me, that if a little was all I could do, then a little could theoretically be enough. That the dad I was today to Jude, if it was my best and flawed every day, every day I fail as a dad, small or large, it kills me. But I do my best, so Do I go to bed feeling like I had done enough as a dad? Or do I go to bed tortured by what I haven't yet achieved, what I didn't say, what I didn't earn, the sit-ups I didn't do, the brownie I did? That song actually was, so the reason I say that is that you lady in the back who said that the song makes a difference to you, that's why I say it cuts straight to the heart of really where I'm going and what I'm thinking about out loud. I'm obviously no master at this. This is me thinking out loud about it, but maybe it's giving you a thought too about where the finish line is for you. In whatever area of your life you are laying awake at night, feeling inadequate or unachieved or incomplete or inadequate, what if the opening line of that song, if this is my last song, what would I want to say? The song was written, and I'll talk more about it this afternoon, but in the workshop. But the song was written. All the songs of the Water album were written in a place called Moab in Utah, Red Rock Country. Very, very beautiful place. Very beautiful. I was on a sabbatical. I basically left. This was before wife, before boy, before mortgage, before dog. Oh, sweet freedom. No, I'm kidding. So I needed a break from the pit of despair that is Los Angeles, and it is. You're missing nothing. And I rented a house in a little town that I had driven through on my way to L.A. When I quit computer programming, I drove my Toyota Tercel across the country to Moab. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was my Toyota Tercel. That's right. And I remembered it being a small and very beautiful place. It's right outside Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park, and beautiful does not describe it. Poems don't do it. Photos don't do it. Nothing does it. You have to see it. And if you're privileged enough to see it, it's ridiculous. Red rock cliffs and canyons and arches and flowing water. The the Colorado River runs right outside town. 1,000-foot high walls of red rock. Some of the darkest skies in North America, and some of the deepest quiet I've ever heard. And I feel like I've shared a little bit about this with you here before, but it's been some years. Anyway, so one day of my 87 days that I lived there in that little house, one day I just took a ride out on the river road, winding along the Colorado River, and I stopped to just look at the water going by, because that's what you do when you don't have wife, baby, dog, mortgage, or any other responsibilities whatsoever. You just stop and watch the river go by. And I stood there and I noticed that somebody had dropped trash on the side of the river. And it pissed me off, man. And I bent down to pick it up, and I discovered that on the embankment leading down to the river, a lot of people had left trash. And I started picking it up. At that point, this is 2006, I had a Forester, station wagon essentially. So I popped open the back, and there were enough plastic bags on that hill that I could just use those. And I filled it. I filled the back of my Forester twice to the rim with garbage, paper cups and cans, and there were a couple of unopened gallons of milk I'll never understand, and there were styrofoam coolers, and there were ketchup packets and McDonald's bags, and it was a disgusting mess. And for the first few minutes, I was really mad at people who would despoil this place, because not only is it so breathtakingly beautiful, but I was having this experience there was just nothing less than sacred. I had been there already a couple months, and quietest, most peaceful thing I'd ever experienced. So I'm throwing trash in the back of my Forester, but after a few minutes of getting mad, I sort of settled into the enjoyment of doing it. And for a long time, I did it for hours. It was just fun. I had nothing else to do. I just did it. But then a creeping thought came to me as I'd been doing this for hours, and that is that this one stretch of the river road is 35 miles, a scenic byway, 35-mile scenic byway, and I had cleaned up I don't know, 100 yards of it. And I'm like, this is useless. What am I doing? As soon as I drive away, somebody's going to throw trash on this road. I'm wasting my time. And then the thought occurred to me, yeah, but what if it was all you could do? If this was actually the end, I didn't think fatally speaking, but if this was the last day you could ever do this good, could you then let it be enough? If time was up, could you look back, instead of regretting what you couldn't get done, could you look back and be okay, fine, content, how about, with what I had done? And I started writing that song there as I picked up trash. What if this was literally my last day? Could I possibly have done enough good that I could die tomorrow content? As I ask the question now, I think, nope. I don't know about you. No, there's unfinished things. Our house is still half built. Still no Grammy on the shelf. Still no college fund for the kid. Right? Still haven't taken my wife to her bucket list is London. Still haven't taken Melina to London. Still haven't shown Jude Yellowstone. I can think of things that I would, if you said it's over, you're going to lay down and die tonight. Never mind my grief of never seeing them again, my wife and boy again. Never mind that. Would I feel like I had? I guess I would feel. Would you feel like you had? Would you feel like the people you loved knew that you loved them? Would there be something left unsaid? I was talking this with a friend a few days ago that funerals should actually ideally happen the day before a person dies. Because if you're about to spend 2 hours saying nice things about somebody, why not say it to their face? It really doesn't do them much good after they're gone. So would you feel content if this was the last day? Would you have done enough? I mean, like I said, I'd be a hypocrite if I told you. I am a hypocrite when I sing the songs. The answer is no, I don't feel like I've done enough. I have glimpses of it, flashes of it. But most of the time, I'm still yearning for something, still trying to prove something. So, there's a mountain left to climb, still. Many, really. But, and again, we'll talk about this afternoon, there is a difference between seeing a mountain in the distance you'd like to climb and calling yourself a failure for not having climbed it. Those are different. So, I'll share one last story with you and then sing you one more song. And that is a perfect demonstration of the small thing being enough was a moment we had with our little boy. It was a few years ago. He's in 5th grade now. This was 4 years ago. There was a boy in his class. We'll call him Ethan. And Ethan was fresh off the boat. He might have arrived by boat, more likely by plane. But he and his baby sister was the cutest little baby I ever saw in my life. And their parents had just arrived from Vietnam. And I don't know if they were refugees or if they were more likely immigrants. I don't know. But I do know they didn't speak a word of English. I also know that they were sweet as pie. You could tell just from the way they acted and attempted to communicate, the parents, I mean. So their son started in class with Jude and 28 other little ragamuffins. And for the first 6 weeks of school, Jude came home almost every day with a story of how Ethan had gotten in trouble. He didn't speak English. He was in a new school, in a new city, in a new country. And who can blame him for not understanding anything he's being asked to do, not having a single familiar face? So he was throwing elbows, and he was, and the teacher and the kids were doing their best. They really were. Jude told us about the talks they all had collectively about how to give Ethan space to figure out where he was, but he was still getting in trouble. I mean, he was, whatever he was doing. Jude said, yeah, Ethan went back to the principal's office today, that kind of thing. And then one day, we got a phone call from Jude's teacher, which could go either direction. The teacher said to us, I want you to know that your son is the kindest child in my class. And I start crying, because that's how I am. And my wife looks at me and says, oh, geez, you're going to start crying, which is the way she is. And she says, but today there was a little moment I wanted to share with you. She said, I finished reading a book to the class, and they're all on the rug, listening to a story. And when I finished, your son raised his hand. I said, yes, Jude? And Jude said, I think Ethan did such a good job listening that he should get an extra point today. She said, it was so sweet. And you now know already too much about me, and you know that I free associate. And so we thanked her for calling and telling us. And then Jude came home, and I told him about his great-grandmother, my other bubby, my dad's mom, who lived to 98. She arrived in the United States at the turn of the 20th century with 13 brothers and sisters and their parents from Poland. My bubby used to joke that their dad was a shoemaker, but they were too poor to have shoes. And it probably wasn't a joke. It was funny, and she always chuckled, and so would we, but she probably wasn't kidding. Bubby arrived in the United States, a little girl, the youngest of 14, didn't finish grammar school because she needed to work and make a few pennies to support her parents who were getting old, and some of her oldest brothers and sisters were much older. She needed to work, not go to school. She was still, though, sharp as a tack and funny and up for a joke or a giggle till her deathbed, where I visited her. I visited her with this guitar, actually. And I sat next to her on her deathbed, and we discussed one of my favorite stories that she used to tell me, which is one of her proudest things in her entire life, was that when she started school in kindergarten, she couldn't speak a word of English. And in second grade, she won the spelling bee. And she was still proud of it 90 years later. Right. And I'm sorry I'm going long, but I'm not going to go much longer. Okay. But I'm aware. Okay. So we talked about what an achievement that was, with my bubby before she died. So fast forward about 10 years, maybe more, 15 years, and Jude comes home from school. And I told him about his great-grandmother. And I said, Jude, your great-grandmother, my bubby, did not get tutored by her mother or father to learn English at kindergarten. Somebody spoke up for little Betty. Somebody spotted that she had a little extra spark, a little extra something, and that somebody went out of their way to teach that little girl English, so that 2 years later she was the best speller in the class. Somebody went out of their way. Somebody noticed her. I said, Ethan is in your class and doesn't speak a word of English, you don't know if he's the smartest kid in the class. You don't know if he's the funniest. You don't know if he'll cure cancer or go to the moon. You don't know if he's a brilliant artist. You don't know if he'll be your best friend. You don't know him yet because he doesn't speak English yet. All Ethan knows is that people are barking at him orders, and he's getting in trouble, and he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what country he's in. He doesn't know what anyone is saying. And then today, you give him one sentence of kindness. And he didn't know what you said. But he knew that everyone in the room turned to him and smiled. And it might be the first time he felt that feeling. And you will probably never know the difference that moment made. But just to say it is enough. You made a difference in Ethan's life today, like somebody made a difference in my Bubby's life 95 years ago. Somebody said something nice to that little girl and made her feel like she could learn to read and write and spell in English. And Jude did it for Ethan. And how much did it cost him? Nothing. One sentence. And will he ever know what difference it made, if it made a difference? Nope. Was there a headline? Nope. Was there an award? Nope. Was there applause? Nope. But was it enough? Was it enough for that day? Did Jude do enough that day? One sentence. So, although I am very self-critical and a hypocrite and all kinds of things, I have to ask myself, and I'm asking you as well, is it possible that the little good thing you do today is enough? If you think about just for a second, somebody who did something little for you that was little to them but not little to you. A word of kindness, a loan of $5, sitting down and helping you study something, or a teacher who went out of their way, or a coach, or a brother or sister who spent an extra 5 minutes with you, or, right? Those little kindnesses, we've still got them. Don't you still have a few in your mind? Well, think how good those people would feel to know that they're still there in you. They probably forgot they did them. To them, they probably went to sleep that night feeling like they hadn't done enough. And meanwhile, 1 year or 20 years or 80 years later, they're still living in you, that little thing. Well, guess what? We're in the give and take. So you're doing the same thing. This is not a pep talk. It's just a simple fact. You and I are in the process of dropping little seeds, little nuggets of gold in the people's lives around us all the time. And they're doing it for us all the time. There's no applause, there's no awards, there's no recognition. You don't go to sleep with $1 million extra or a Grammy on the shelf. Nobody knows but you the good that's been done for you or the good that's been done by you. So, have you done enough? How hard do you and I want to be on ourselves? How high do we want to put the bar? Is it possible to accept that we've done our best and that our best had real nuggets of gold in it? And maybe is it also possible that we let somebody know around us that they've given us something similar that they may have never imagined they did? Let me sing you a song that it was inspired by that phone call. Oh, my water's all the way over there. Oh, never mind. Okay. So one more song. Here we go. Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me. to give a couple dollars to a stranger on the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his first grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone. There's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is, saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope, my boy, you'll come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So put down roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child.
I'm not going to say we've had enough of you. But again, I'm grateful for that, your presence here today. And I don't know how anybody else feels, but maybe same time next year, we could use a little bit more of Daniel Nahmon. Anyway, It's now time for our love offering, our sacrament of giving and receiving. And inspired by Daniel's talk, anybody ever call you Dan?
High school, Dan.
Okay.
Little kid, Danny. Grown up, Daniel. Doesn't matter. Dan's fine.
Inspired by his talk, if we could measure your contributions in all kinds of ways. When we weigh it against the light, the heat, and building, and and the mortgage and all that kind of stuff, it's easy to say, it's not quite enough. So the only criterion I place upon you this morning, I don't care if you give a nickel, I don't care if you give $100 or whatever, if it's coming from your heart, which I know is always the motivation of this Unity of Fox Valley family, it's enough, and we give thanks for it. So please join me now in praying our affirmations. God is my instant, constant, abundant source of supply. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all the good that I am, I have, I give, and I receive. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all the good that we are, we have, we give, and we receive. You have a song for us?
I do.
Okay.
All right, one more song. Thank you for having me. And this workshop this afternoon, or the concert, concert tonight, right? Concert at 6, is it? Do we have, is there a price on those things, or are they offerings?
The workshop is a love offering, and the concert is $25 a ticket.
Okay. So just so you know about this workshop, it's I sing you some songs, I ask you some questions. You take some time to write. So bring a pen and paper. That's all you need. And a workshop is a very intense sounding thing, but it's actually can be as relaxing as you like, and it can be as participatory as you like. So you have the opportunity to say something out loud if you want, and not if you don't. I read you some things, ask you some questions, and sing you some songs. And it's really about, I talked a little bit about the Water album, but it's really about how tightly you and I are holding on to the steering wheel, telling ourselves we're in charge, telling ourselves we're responsible for success or failure, that whether we deserve credit or blame, how we want to be remembered, how much pressure we put on ourselves to live up to other people's expectations. It's about the illusion of control. It's about, so it's kind of a deep breath of a couple hours. It's intended to be restful and calming. And and about the money, come if you have a $1,000 bill burning a hole in your pocket, you're welcome to pay it. It'll help the church. It'll help me. But if you don't have $5 extra, but you are interested and want to come, please come. Be our guest. I didn't ask your permission to say that, but I know you would agree. Be our guest. Just come as our treat, and just be there and experience it. Okay? So it's not it's not a shakedown for money. It's an experience, and it's not like when I talk. It's not a set thing. It's not shtick. It's not something I'm teaching. I'm just kind of facilitating and sharing something that's very personal and true for me. And it really is a lesson I learned in that time in Utah. And it really did change my life completely about how I make decisions or don't, what I worry about or don't, what I decide, what I think I'm in charge of or not. It changes things, even to just dabble in it. So I hope you'll come, and I think you'll find it interesting. And then the concert at 6 is just more songs, a lot more songs. Okay, so a song to sing. I got to do this one, because with everything I just said, I told you too much about myself. But this is, actually, there's one other thing I want to say. What's on that table is usually CDs. For 20 years, it was CDs. Now it's kind of like the Name-Odd Family Craft Show. So I have CDs, but I also have cards that you can download an individual album on your phone, like in 2 seconds. I also have a USB drive, which has 14 albums on it, a complete collection of my inspirational music. If you don't know what a USB drive is, you don't want it. Don't ask. right? I don't sell doorstops as best I can. And in the middle of the table is woodworking. I just started doing that. I've been doing it in my home for years. I just started making pieces to sell. So those boxes and hearts and things are in the middle of the table. That's me. And on the other end, the pretty stuff from the pretty girl, that's my wife's work. She is a silversmith and a fine one. And her jewelry is beautiful, and I travel with it, and I display it more proudly than I display my own music, is my wife's jewelry. So that's why there's shiny objects on the table. Solid silver, handmade, fancy. Okay, now, a song. Autobiographical as all the rest of it is. This song was another gift to me for myself, and like One Power is, in terms of summarizing the stuff I'm made of and what. Thank you very much. The stuff I'm made of and the thing I do and the reason I do it. It all came together in this slightly crazy song that I hope you enjoy. Here we go. This came out of just before the world stopped turning in 2019, and so it's new to you and not new to me. Here we go. I could sing about mistakes I've made, broken hearts and broken wings. I could sing about my aches and pains and the one that got away. But it seems to me the world has its hurts to spare. Shadows are everywhere. I decided I've cried enough. There's plenty of songs about tough luck. I'm gonna sing about love. Gonna sing about love and lift somebody up instead of talking about tough luck. Hang on one second though. They're so distorted. It's distorted in the room, right? Really? So it's just this speaker? Okay, good. If you can hear it clearly, then I will continue. I can't deny, I still dream about the glory, the Grammy, the gold. I cannot lie, I still wish sometimes my eyes and my heart would close. But it seems to me, you can bring the track way up, my family escaped the war, and they never sang anymore. They lost everything they had. And if a song is all I can give back, I'm gonna sing about love. Whoa. Gonna sing about love. Whoa. Lift somebody up. Lift somebody up. Gonna sing about love. Instead of talking about tough love. Oh, no more tough love. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Gonna take my cue from a few folks I look up to. I'm gonna sing about love. Stevie Wonder sings in the key of life. Bobby McFerrin says be happy, it'll be alright. Marvin Gaye showed the way to what's going on. It's a wonderful world thanks to Louis Armstrong. Soul Asylum saved those runaway kids. John Lennon just imagined and the whole world did. John Denver took the sky with Tina Turner to the sea. Steve moved to a higher love, John Legend and Comet of Freedom. Pete Seeger's gonna overcome. Bob Marley just smiled at the rising sun. Eminem will lose himself before the moment's gone. Miss Jackson knows the knowledge is what we want. Gloria Gaynor maintained that we're gonna survive. Tim McGraw wants us to live like we are dying. Aretha got R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Bette Midler from a distance, the whole world we see. Tom Petty free falls, Leanne hopes we dance. Josh Groban raises us up. If we're hurting, R.E.M. understands. Irving D bless the USA. Van Morrison ushered in a brand new day. Whitney sang about the greatest love of all. Johnny Nash can see clearly now the rain won't fall. Pink knows we're beautiful. Christina does too. Rihanna sees her shining like a diamond. We keep walking like the Foo Fighters. Fight the power, Public Enemy said. Miley is a climber. Andy Grammer keeps his head up. Bill Withers, we can lean on him. Natasha's unwritten. Taylor Swift shakes it off again. Lady Gaga was born this way. Jason Mraz truly glad to be our friend today. The Black Eyed Peas wonder where is the love. Desiree gotta be. Journey never stopped believing in us. Simon over troubled water made a bridge. Elton John lit a candle for Diana. He did. It's the same love. Macklemore was moved to pray. Izzy made a rainbow with an ukulele. James Brown, loud and proud. Bruce Hornsby lit it out the way it is. Queen made us into champions. U2 and Dr. King and the power of one. Sam Cooke made you look. Change is gonna come. Peter Gabriel ain't giving up on us just yet. We are the world. Save lives. No star they couldn't get. Irene Cara, what a feeling alive. Pharrell Mavis, happy Katy Perry lit a firework in the sky. Carole King, we've got a friend. Switchfoot dared us all to move again. Paul McCartney's words of wisdom were to let it be. The weight of the world was taken off by Alarak and the Fiji. So what you gonna do? So what do I do? What you gonna do? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sing about love. Sing about love. Sing about love. It'll be alright. Lift somebody up. Instead of talking about tough love, I'm gonna sing about love.
That's a wrap. Couple of short announcements. Daniel took some of my announcements away. That's just great. Our annual taco bar is coming up on May 7th. All are invited to join us in fellowship, food, and fun. Please contact Wanda Faye Holmes to volunteer or bring an item. Our food drive starts next Sunday. Please drop off your donations downstairs. Daniel already spoke about the workshop. I don't know how many people are going to come. I hope a lot. We'll see what the number is. If there are too many for the classroom, we'll move it in here. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. And if you don't have your tickets yet for tonight, show up at the door and we will still let you in. And yes?
I just thought we should know that we have 35 people online listening.
Good, thank you. And by the way, a lot more people tune in throughout the week to see the service, so it's worthwhile. If you can't afford a ticket for tonight's concert, do not let that dissuade you from coming. Just come and see me, okay? And that concludes our announcements. I will ask everybody to stand and confer a congregational blessing on one another across the aisle or the person next to you, and then we will do our prayer of protection, and we're going to close with the peace song. Okay. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you, and know that you are empowered to do great things. And our prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.